What is that like for you actually setting up your content creation and being consistent with creating content? So many people struggle with that. How have you, created a system to be consistent with that? Do you feel people buy more of the person or the brand, in your opinion?
I'm going to honestly say I feel like they support more of the person.
So do you feel like taking that leap and moving to another place got you out of your boundary, out of your comfort zone enough to elevate you? Like, do you feel like you had an exponential growth just by leaving your hometown?
And it helped me get rid of fear. Fear was something I operated on for a very long time. I didn't like going out in public places all the time. I would always be like someone you see on social media. You don't really see her out clubbing, partying. Then when someone sees, I don't never see you out. So that was always like my thing. Content is all about who you're marketing to. I would say number one, being confident in yourself so that you can push what you're putting your content out about, and just making sure that you have a strategy.
With no further ado, Miss Aliyah Ambrose, welcome to Great Minds Meet.
Thank you.
Thank
you for having me.
For sure. So I appreciate you coming. First thing I noticed when you walked up was my favorite position is CEO. First thing I seen on your shirt, right? So first, tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the audience and those who don't know you.
Okay, so my name is Aliyah Ambrose. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I am 27 years old. I am a serial entrepreneur. I started doing makeup, I would say, when I was about 15 years old. So I've been doing it for a couple of years, practicing on friends. I remember being young and just wanting to like massage my family's feet, do facials, like just things to make people feel good. That was kind of like my push to the beauty industry, but I felt like it was just my calling. My entire life, I was just like, I want to do something to make people feel amazing about themselves, whether it's makeup, skin. I even tried hair a little second, but I didn't like it as much. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And now I currently live in the state of Texas. I love it. So I'm just seeing what this state brings me.
Got you. So, Aliyah, the first thing I was inspired by when I was looking at your brand and looking at the things that you do is that you are not just a one-dimensional person. You're a licensed esthetician. You have a product line that has over 11 or 22 different product SKUs. 22. Put some respect on her name. And on top of that, you create a lot of content and over and over again to educate and promote your brand. What is that like for you actually setting up your content creation and being consistent with creating content? So many people struggle with that. How have you, created a system to be consistent with that?
I mean, content is very tricky. I feel like people just put it out and it's just like, oh, I hope it works for me and I hope people buy or I hope people book me. I feel like it needs to be directly to who you're marketing to. So with me, I don't just do one thing. Like I said, I'm a makeup artist. I'm also an esthetician. I also want to sell my skincare brand. I'm also working on something else coming soon. So I think about, okay, self-care. Yeah, I talked to a couple moms a couple different times. They're like, I don't have time for self-care all day long. So I think about how can I market to them on their free time. For men, I have a men line. So I think about men don't like a bunch of steps. They like it to be just like a 1, 2, 3, or they won't do it. So I made my men's line 3 easy steps. And then once we focus on what our skin needs, we can add to it. So I try to make it convenient. And that's like my content. Like what makes me stand out, what makes me different, and that's what helps me sell, because it's like, okay, she's easy to work with, she's easy to ask questions. And then I've also added lifestyle content, which is people just wanting to get to know me more. One thing I felt like I was lacking, Martel, was showing more of myself. I would show what I was doing, I would show what I was selling, why the product worked, but not more of me. So I'm getting more into that.
So that's interesting. You said that, more of you, right? And because when I look at becoming your favorite CEO, do you feel people buy more of the person or the brand, in your opinion?
I'm going to honestly say I feel like they support more of the person. I really do. I feel like a lot of brands are honestly doing either the same thing or promoting the same thing with different names and different agendas, but it's like, what do I like about this girl? Why do I want to buy from her, or this guy? And why do I want to purchase from them or work with them? It's the person, and then everything else kind of, falls in line with that.
I agree with you. First off, Leah, the reason why I agree is as a startup brand, people first are looking at who are you? What is your company about? You're a brand new company. So people don't actually know if one, they should even trust your products,
Right.
if they should trust your service, but can they trust you?
Right.
And if they can trust you and trust the ownership, then they buy into the brand. Now, the next levels after that to extend your brand and extend your product line is becoming not just a personal brand, but becoming a brand, becoming Nike, becoming Amazon, becoming Chick-fil-A, becoming these brands that they mean something when you see the brand and the logo, right? So one thing that I've seen you do to extend yourself to the brand is create platforms for people to go on. I was looking at your Instagram and recently saw you dropped the new app. Can you talk to us a little bit about that product extension and what it's like to add that additional extension for your customers?
So it helps them understand it more. I know under each skincare product, so I have Coco Beauty. Let me make this clear so everyone won't be confused. You have CocoBeautyLLC.com, which is my website. You will shop for all your skincare needs there. That's one website. Then I also have a booking link, which is separate. And then you will be able to book services with me that's connected to Coco Beauty, but also connected to Aliyah Artistry, which is makeup. Photo shoots, me traveling to you. If you want me to travel out of state to do services, I do weddings. I think I did up to 15 girls on my own. That was the biggest wedding I think I've ever done so far. But it's different links. And then also the products breaks it down to what skin type you are, if this product will work for you. I don't have too many products that say it's just for all skin types because to me, that's not realistic. So I wanted to have a platform that you can go on, you can understand it. And then if you need to ask me additional questions, I'm always open to responding to DMs, emails, whatever. I'm always on social media to respond.
Got it. So now you have it everything where it's automated is what I'm hearing, right? If I'm hearing you correctly, you're always open to communicate and respond to your customers. So if they want to come to you, they can get their service right away, whether they're booking the makeup or whether they're ordering skincare products and getting it shipped to them online. See, so a lot of entrepreneurs, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, right? At Black Wall Street, we have over 1 million followers. We get about 22 million impressions a month. And out of that 22 million a month, most of our following are entrepreneurs globally, right?
Nice.
And so as we connect, Aliyah, and continue to grow this brand, my mindset is always, how do we automate the system to service our customer at a higher rate, right? And it sounds like that's what you are doing and what you've created. My question for you is, what made you have the audacity to think that you can create a brand that could be a global brand and continue to grow that brand as a beautiful young Black woman?
Martel, let me tell you something. I believe in myself. And it doesn't matter if I choose to do something completely out the clear blue sky. If I believe it, I'm going to try it. I'm young. I'm still in my prime. So it's more so like try things in life to see if it works for you. I feel like I've always had that the way I carry myself. I'm a walking brand. So I always make sure I'm well put together. I always make sure I fit the beauty industry look. So I would just say like, that's kind of what gave me the audacity to push it. Like I believed that I could do a skincare line. I started it. I did my research. I figured out the amount of capital I needed to start testing products, testing on multiple skin types just to make sure it wasn't breaking anyone out and, getting insurance. Everything is like just research. So start there. And once you feel confident about that, then you can actually start the brand.
So take me back, Aliyah. What was it like for you actually growing up before, you got out of Baltimore, been here in Texas and building your beauty empire that you have? What was it like when you first started and you were coming up in life? Did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
No. Actually, I did not know I was always going to be an entrepreneur or wanted to be. I have family members who are entrepreneurs, but my mother and my father were not entrepreneurs. My mother worked for MTA. She's actually from New York City. So she moved to Baltimore. She worked for MTA for years. She met my father. My father was in construction. So growing up, we weren't really taught about, I would say, financial literacy. Back then, I just feel like it was different for our parents. Entrepreneurship wasn't huge then. No one really talked about how to not just save your money, but invest your money to make better decisions. So I made some mistakes growing up around like the ages of like 18 to 24, messing up my credit, getting approved for credit cards. And I was like, oh my God, I got this much. So it's just so much that you have to learn if you're not taught right away. And Baltimore can teach you some life lessons. I didn't always have it all. So that kind of made me become a hustler. It kind of made me figure out like, this is what I need to do to live the lifestyle that I want to live in Baltimore City. And By the time of 15, I started practicing on friends and family on makeup. I wasn't good. It was just the beginning stages. But from there, I remember walking in the mall and I got a job at Michael Kors at 17 years old. And they don't normally hire at 17, so I don't want to put that out. But they were like, oh my gosh, I really like you. So I started there in Towson Mall. From there, I went to a mall called Columbia in Columbia, Maryland. I was able to work at the MAC counter. I got hired on my first interview. Still wasn't quite good at makeup the way I would have liked to been, and they gave me an Asian woman. And Asian women have hooded eyelids. So when you close your eyes, you can't, when you open your eyes, you can't see the makeup that you did when your eyes were closed. So I was like, geez, they gave me a hard client for the first time, but more practice and more commitment. And I gained clientele and it just went up from there.
Okay. So you put a lot of practice to get to where you are now, right? Right.
Yeah.
Which people don't see all that. They just
they only see the good.
They just see Coco Leah on Instagram selling products and growing your brand, but they don't see what came before that, you know? Now, I am curious, Coco. Tell me about what was the time when you realized, no, this entrepreneur thing is for me. Like this, what I'm doing, this is my purpose. I'm walking in the path of life that God has ordained me to walk in. What was one of those moments for you as an entrepreneur that made you feel like, this is me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life?
I remember having a side hustle of doing makeup on the side. I was building my clientele work. And I remember saying, okay, I'm going to start this side hustle of Coco Beauty. A life lesson taught me a very, very, very huge thing when this happened. So I had started my line in December of 2020. By January of 2021, I had someone at my store go up to management and say, oh, this girl has a skincare line. And I think it's a conflict of interest to her being in the MAC counter at Nordstrom.
Haters.
So I remember coming back from my birthday trip. My birthday's January 16th. Okay. And my manager was like, who's Coco Beauty? And I was like, a skincare line. And he was just like, well, whose? And I was like, why? Like, I'm just trying to get down to like why you're asking me so many questions. And he was like, well, we went upstairs and it's a conflict of interest and we really don't want to have to let you go. So do you think you can just maybe step back from the face of it and just like work kind of behind the scenes? And I was like, I just started it. What could I possibly take from a multi-million-dollar company like Nordstrom if I just started a month ago? Yeah. And he was just like, yeah, he was like, unfortunately. So basically I left Nordstrom. That was January of 2021. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, I'm not sure in Texas if you're familiar with the unemployment that was going on for COVID. Pandemic, yeah. But in the state of Maryland, they would give you $600 plus whatever you were eligible for. So I used every week when they gave me that paycheck money to get inventory, to do promotions. I started building my business and I just never looked back ever since.
And shout out to the real entrepreneurs out there that during COVID, kept the pedal to the metal, kept your foot on the gas and used that money, right? Like, so Coco, I started my company, Good Feeling Hemp, my cannabis company in Texas, one of the first Black-owned cannabis companies in the state of Texas in March 26th of 2020. So this past Tuesday was our 4-year anniversary, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And what was great was during that time, I was working in corporate America. I was working for a company called Oyo at the time. I was basically buying hotel chains. So I would go to a hotel, talk to them, say, hey, I want to buy your hotel. My company wants to buy it, and then take the hotel over. Well, as you can imagine, during the COVID, all hospitality had ceased, right? It came to a stop. So my company let go about 80% of the country, right? So at that time, I was 26 years old, making great money, no kids, no wife, you know what I'm saying? Almost at 6 figures in my corporate job. So when the pandemic came, I still got my regular pandemic check plus that additional 600 on top, right? So when I say when I say I hit a lick,
oh my God, everybody felt great around. I mean, I know it was a bad time.
I know it was a bad time. It was scary and everything else, but that's what real entrepreneurship is. Being a true entrepreneur is being creative with the things and the resources that you have and finding a way to keep your business afloat, finding a way to make money, right? So many people that I see right now, Coco, is like always online trying to be an entrepreneur, right? They look at somebody like Coco Leah and say, man, look at her Instagram. Look, she almost got 100,000 followers. She's growing. And they're looking at the visual, so they go do that. but they don't do all the real work. The setting up your SOPs, the actually having your website together, the having your automations right, the things that make you money, right? Like the real things that actually make you money. And those are things you should do. But I do have another question for you.
Okay.
If you can go back, right, and go back to when you were, let's say, 16 years old, and you knew right before you turned 17 and got your first job as at Mac store, the store you was working at, if you can take yourself back to that stage and tell that 16-year-old something that's going to help her elevate through the rough times of entrepreneurship, what advice would you give 16-year-old Aliyah?
I would give 16-year-old Aliyah the advice to really focus on my finances, really focus on my credit. I think that at that age, people think they're too young to focus on it. It's not a priority. Mom and dad is still handling responsibilities for them, but it starts there. It really does, because like I said, by 18, I was approved for certain credit cards. So if you're not used to a certain living, or you're not used to having a certain amount of money, that right there is why so many people in their younger 20s fail. Because by the time they actually see things for what it needs to be, 25, 26, you can't get approved for anything. You have no money, you're in debt, you're making bad decisions for yourself when you're young. So I would just say, do your research. Don't expect for, everything to be told to you. Sometimes we got iPhones now. It's no excuse. Research things. And surround yourself around a crowd of people who want more for themselves. I think that's number one, is surround yourself around a crowd of people who want more for themselves. Because if you surround yourself around people who don't have nothing to lose in life, you'll end up in something before you're even 21.
Now, I agree with that. One thing I really agree with, surrounding yourself around people who want more for themselves and being financially literate, because a lot of Black people in America aren't taught how to be entrepreneurs, right? A lot of people in general, but specifically Black people. A lot of us come from lower economical backgrounds, whether you're staying in lower middle class or staying in straight the projects. You are trying to hustle your way to success, but which is great. You got to hustle at some point, but eventually you got to stop hustling, and then you have to start planning, because really becoming successful is a planned activity. It doesn't happen by smarter, not harder. It doesn't happen by chance. Now, for the entrepreneurs though, as you continue to grow, you continue to build your business, and you continue to scale your business, you must learn how to work on yourself just as much as you work on your business. Absolutely. Your company can only grow as much as you grow, right? And as big as you get mentally. And so I'm a huge advocate, Aliyah, of reading books and listening to audios and listening to people who can support you and provide that financial and mental stimulation for you, right? So I'm wondering, what are some books that you enjoy that's helped you throughout this journey?
I remember when I got one of my first books, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I started reading it, and I was like, it gives you that mentality of how two different people think. And at the end, they might have the same goal of, I want to be successful, but it's how they got there and their mindset of how they got there. So that was one of my favorite ones. What is the other book? I'm currently reading it now. So 48 Laws of Power. I read that twice.
Really?
Yes, I read that book. I don't know why. It's just like, I just wanted to go back in certain life situations. And I was like, let me read it again.
You real methodical then. That's what's up.
I read that twice. When Nipsey Hussle first passed, I got his book. I read that. That was interesting. It's a couple more. I think 50 Cent came out with one that I started, but I didn't finish. I didn't finish it though. I need to actually finish that one. But as far as like audio, I listen to, I don't know if you're familiar with Ayana Fix My Life, but she has a podcast and she has over 50 episodes. And sometimes I'll just turn off my music in the car and just listen to different people's situations, how they handle things, because I struggled with mental health for a very long time, where I didn't believe in myself. I didn't feel like I could even get up some days. And this is what I don't show on social media. So this is just like, it's certain days I felt like I didn't even want to be here anymore. So when you listen to certain podcasts and read certain books to push you sometimes, and therapy too.
Therapy is heavy. It's great.
That's number one. Books and audio would be second, but just get yourself together. And I feel like anything else will kind of ride along with that.
That's what's up. It makes sense that you like the 50 Cent book, the 50th Law, because Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, also co-wrote the 50th Law.
So many
you know what I mean? It's heavy. It's great. I also love like Think and Grow Rich is also one of my favorites.
I have that and I haven't read it. It's upstairs in my office.
You should. I'm telling you, it's some great information in that joint.
Okay.
My favorite book of all time, though, it's been my favorite book since I read it. It's never changed. I don't think it's going to change. It's The Alchemist. It's this book called The Alchemist. It's an amazing. Listen, that was the first time I picked up a book, read it from cover to cover in 2 days.
It's a big book?
It's not that big.
Okay.
It's a regular sized book.
Okay.
But I wasn't a big reader neither when I first read it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So to read a book in 2 days, I was like, yeah, I'm stiff. You know what I'm saying? But it was great content inside of it. So I am curious though. I want to dive a little deeper into that mental health because I think that so many people can learn and benefit from learning how to deal with mental health and the pressures that come with being an entrepreneur, come with being a Black woman as a CEO and as an entrepreneur as well. I know you said therapy and books has helped you throughout this process. Have there been any other techniques or things you've done on your daily, whether it's working out, yoga, mindset, affirmations, and meditation? Has there been any things that has helped you specifically, Miss Aliyah, with your mental health and being strong and building that up?
I would say working out. I started my working out journey right after I found out that my father passed.
Sorry to
that. Thank you. I couldn't find an outlet. I was angry. I was very closed into a lot of people. I felt like I was mean. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything. Like at that point, I was like, God, you should have took me with him. Me and my dad were so close. So it just was like, dang, like why? How am I about to continue? I just don't know. So I remember going to the LA Fitness. I already had a membership, but I wasn't using it like that. I remember going to the LA Fitness. I didn't care about form. I didn't care about losing weight. That wasn't why I was going. I was going to release anger. So I would box on the bags without boxing gloves.
Yeah.
And allow my hands to get scarred.
Really?
It was just pain coming out. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this to get in shape, anything like that. So I remember my family seen how bad I was grieving. So my mother and my boyfriend thought it was a good idea to get me a puppy. Because I had just, my puppy recently in 2019 had passed. So I didn't have anything to like help at the moment. So they gifted me a puppy in 2022 of January because my dad died 11/11. And I remember just working out, praying a lot. Like my relationship with God, and actually I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. My mom was a Jehovah's Witness. My dad wasn't. But I've always learned to just pray to Jehovah God and talk to him about like everything that just been going on in my life. And I just want to release the pain, the anger. And that was it. That was my outlet, honestly. Working out helped a lot other than, at the time when you're angry, you don't want to read. You don't want to talk to people. You don't want to. I barely wanted therapy at that time. That's your angry stage. So it was just like, let me go work out. Yeah.
No, I can resonate with that, especially even barely wanting therapy when you go through something like that. So when I was 21 in 2015, my mother passed away. And my mother, I appreciate it. My mother was my why. You know what I mean? I became this entrepreneur. I became a CEO at 30 and a COO at 30 of a company with 1 million followers in a cannabis industry and a pioneer in this space because of the energy that my mom instilled in me, right?
Yeah.
That she pushed. So when she left this world, it made me feel like, man, I was really heartbroken. I went cold though, Aliyah. I'll be honest. I got in robotic state. I just work. I traveled right afterwards. That's when I moved to Barcelona, Spain. Wow. So I was living in Barcelona, and I remember I was running one day. I used to like run 2-3 miles. I ran to the beach, and I'm on the beach running. And at the time, I'm 22. I'm in Barcelona. I'm in Spain. I'm like living this lifestyle, and I'm supposed to be super happy. And I remember just sitting on the beach and I'm just crying. I'm bawling tears because although I'm here, my mom's not like, I can't. I'm thinking when I go back to Houston, I'm homeless basically. Where I'm gonna stay? I live with my mama growing up. I didn't graduate college and I'm thinking I'm in a whole nother country enjoying life. I had a consulting company. I was building my business. Kevin Gates came over there and did a concert. I went to a Kevin Gates concert in Barcelona. That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? Still is. So I was just in a whole nother vibe, right? But with all that joy, I felt all that pain at the same time. Yep. And I didn't go to therapy for years. It took me. I actually ended up going to therapy in 2021. when I was 28.
Wow.
That was my first time going.
Wow.
It took me a long time. I was like, talk to who for what? Man, I just got out of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I added a whole bunch of weight. I got to like 265, 275. I ain't never been that big. I was a football all-star, played college ball, all this. So I was depressed, and I didn't realize it because I just kept working, but I was really depressed. You know what I'm saying? I was depressed, unhappy, and fat. That was a bad, it was a bad combination. So I went to therapy. I actually did hypnotherapy, which was interesting too. I didn't even do regular therapy. You know,
I went How'd you like that?
It was interesting. I loved it actually. I went to Miss Rose, right, and like kind of by Pearland.
Okay.
I went out there, and it was a therapy session. Like we would do like have some questions and answers type. Then afterwards, she would put like a hypnotic rhythm. It's like a audio tape that you listen to, and then so you would sit there, kind of put you in a meditative state. Most of the time, I fall asleep. That's how crazy it was. Yeah, amazing. And then she sent me videos to listen to at home, so I would like check those out.
How do you like it helped you?
I feel that it made me slow down. I speed up so much. My brain is like this, like this, like
That's
this.
What you mean by you go cold? You're always working.
I'm always working. It's like when you work like that, you ain't got time to feel.
Yeah.
You just
emotions
put yourself
outside.
emotions on the side. You put yourself in grind mode, which is almost a superpower that I have. But it's also, you got to be able to feel, because to truly manifest, right? To manifest things, you have to be grateful. So to feel gratitude is to feel gratitude. You can't just think about gratitude. You have to feel it. And then you start to manifest all the things you want into life, you know? So I think that that's a huge lesson that a lot of people can learn from therapy and just from slowing
you're doing
down.
Better.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I appreciate that, most definitely. So my other question I have for you, though, is thinking about a woman who came from Baltimore all the way to the great state of Texas, and being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. Has it been a big hurdle for you being in a different market and kind of rebuilding the brand? Talk to me about that, because a lot of people want to move, but they scared. But you took that leap. You know what I mean?
I took a leap after telling everybody no. But in Baltimore, I was comfortable. I had clientele. I was comfortable with the money I was making. I was just comfortable, and it was just like, that's where I was raised. My family was there. I'm like, I'm not going to know what's in Texas. What am I going to Texas for? And then I just remember always thinking Texas always had tornadoes. I don't know why. That was just in my head.
It's Oklahoma.
Yes, I was just like, it's too many natural disasters. I'm not going to Texas. So I remember making the decision to finally come here. And my entire first year here, I was lost. I've been here since November of 2022, the end of November, going to Christmas. And I remember just feeling like, Dad, what am I doing here? Like, I wasn't doing makeup when I first got here. I continued working out. I continued meeting people, but I wasn't like working, if that makes sense. Like, I was still having my online store and things like that, but I wasn't physically, I was lost. I was like, how am I supposed to meet people out here? And then that's when I was like, okay, I want my credentials. I was like, I tried to apply for a grant. And I remember it was a woman helping me apply for a grant. And she was like, well, why should people trust you with skincare products? Like, what credentials do you have? And she lit me on fire. She lit me on fire once. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get my credentials. Can't nobody question that anymore once you have licensing behind it and you continue to get your education. Right. So I remember signing up for school. School was about 6.5 months for me to get my license. I studied super hard to pass both my exams on the first try. And I knew I didn't want to work for no one. Most of the jobs when you get out of aesthetic school is between, I'll say, $12 to $16. In the world that we live in right now, an hour.
Well, that's going to pay for.
Right. So I was like, you know what? I'm not starting out as the rookie somewhere. Even if I want to continue taking additional classes, I will, to get more knowledge, but I'm going to go work for myself. And I did whatever I needed to do to search for locations, because I'm not familiar with Texas, but what's a good area to work in? What's a good area that's the middle ground where everyone don't feel like they're driving hours to come to me? And I did it. I would get down to the deep parts of how and all this. I'm pretty sure you might ask that later, but it's just step by step. Like I said, even starting a business, doing your research, figuring out how much things cost weekly, monthly, whatever the case might be that you can afford, and then going from there.
So do you feel like taking that leap and moving to another place got you out of your boundary, out of your comfort zone enough to elevate you? Like, do you feel like you had an exponential growth just by leaving your hometown?
And it helped me get rid of fear. Fear was something I operated on for a very long time. I didn't like going out in public places all the time. I would always be like someone you see on social media. You don't really see her out clubbing, partying. Then when someone see, oh, I don't never see you out. So that was always like my thing. I never really liked doing podcasts or talking to people. I got asked to be on a couple different ones. I'm like, no, just being shy. Like, I was like, I didn't want to open up to people. And when I moved here, I did my first podcast. In Baltimore, I was asked a couple times, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And I came here, and I've been saying yes to most of them.
Say yes, and you'll grow. That's the gem. Say yes more than no. All right.
Yes.
Especially when you first coming up. Now once you come up, you got to learn how to say no more than yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? But
that's true.
You know what I mean? This is crazy how that flipped. Mm-hmm. But would you consider yourself to be an introvert or an extroverted person?
Both. I have.
You're an ambivert. That's what they call it.
I have both. Because sometimes I don't want to be bothered, but I also know I work in a field where I meet people all the time, and I've heard people say like your energy is amazing. Like I'll go places and I like your energy, and I don't talk to them that much, and it's just like your aura about you. So both. Because I can stay in the house by myself for a week straight and be cool. No problem at all. And then it's like when I go out, I can talk to people too.
And network and grow the business. Yeah,
like at networking events, I started off being to myself, but I can actually talk to people, get to know people. So both. I'm kind of in between.
Okay, so let's get into some marketing and growing of scaling your business. Mm-hmm. What's been some techniques and some things that you saw like at first maybe it wasn't working, or maybe you got stagnant and then you implemented a little technique or strategy and you saw growth in your business growth or your following online? What's been some things you've done to see success with marketing your business and your products?
So I started figuring out what people were searching for. So search engines on Google, also TikTok. I really hope they don't shut it down. But when you go on TikTok, if you're in a certain industry, you can actually see like what people are searching based on your brand. So like if you're a podcast creator, you can see what people want to see. Like just type it in. You can also see what people are searching for if you do lashes or makeup. That is what kind of your content should be on, because the majority of the internet is searching for it. So if you say you're a Houston makeup artist and you know that people are going online to find Houston makeup artists, that should be in your hashtags. That should be you tagging your location in Houston. Like just making sure you're targeting where you are if you're creating a service. And if you're just selling something, targeting what you're actually selling in your hashtags, your location, paying for promo. Because sometimes people think that they're shadow banned on most of their social media. So sometimes if you pay the extra $10, $15, $20, whatever you have, it can push your content out a little bit further than the people who actually follow you. And another thing, I think one of my friends told me, like, you keep posting your old reels on your story. I'm like, so? And she was like, well, why? It's already been. I'm like, because a lot of your followers don't see it. Like, you might think they do because they follow you, but they don't see it. So if I post something old, I might get an additional 100, 200 likes on this post that no one has seen previously. So
that's good.
Don't be shy or don't feel embarrassed to post your content. I don't care if you have 2 likes on it. You might go on my page and I might have a post that related to business that didn't get as many likes as a personal post. I'm going to keep it on there.
Yeah.
Keep it on. Just I feel confident in what you're actually putting out. And, no one is going to support someone who's not confident in their stuff, because then how can they be confident in your stuff if you're not even confident in it? So content is all about who you're marketing to. I would say number 1, being confident in yourself so that you can push what you're putting your content out about, and just making sure that you have a strategy. Write out your plan, just like a business plan.
Yo, content is king, for one.
Yes.
And number 2, Aliyah, something I love that you just said that a lot of people hate to do, and I know they don't do, but if you will do this, you will be successful. Write it out.
Yep.
If you take some time to research and write out the strategy behind how you grow, I'm telling you, it's way more. It's simple to be an entrepreneur and be successful. It's not easy, but it's simple. If you do the things that you should do, like writing out your content, actually doing some research of your competitors and your competition, and then being consistent with the posting, you're going to grow, you're going to make money, and you'll start making money online. So many people are scared of that. They scared of that online money.
Oh, and I left one thing out. So when I first started, I didn't have the money to pay people to do videos for me. I didn't have it. Like, people was asking for like hundreds of dollars. I'm like, what? I'm not. So I would reach out to people. Baltimore is like one big family.
Okay.
So like, if someone has a certain amount of followers and you were all from the city and you reach out to them like, hey, can you do this video for me? Some people might say, oh, no. And then some people might be like, yeah, I got you. And you just never know that they're following. I remember one girl, she was like, yeah, Leah, I got you. I'll post it. I had like 6 sales right after she posted the video.
Just like that.
Right after that. So I was like, I don't never mind sending her something for free. Like, you bringing me in something else. Then having certain guys, you know, one guy, his name was Ant. Shout out to Ant. He's from Baltimore. He moved to LA. And I remember I was like, Ant, can you do a video for me? Of course, I got you. Just like that. I had people buying things. He was promoting the beard stuff, everything. I was just like, I appreciate it. So don't just be, and I want to put this out there too. I am completely open to helping other businesses grow. So when people be like, oh, I don't want to ask you, Leah, because I'm open for it. If we can have the right conversation about something, you can send me something, I'll promote it because I've been there before. If you really don't have the capital to actually pay for something, and I got you because I want to see y'all grow too.
Okay, I like that. I really like that beard that she talking about. I might have to try them products, you know what I'm saying? I've been growing my beard out, getting it right. Hello now, Leah, you know, get me right.
Yes, of course. I complimented you when I first seen it because most men, a lot of men don't take care of their beards.
Yeah. You know, you got to moisturize.
Yes.
You got to wash it and let it grow, you know. Little gem for y'all who want to know is some vitamins you can take as well to actually get your beard to grow out. If you want to know the vitamins and the secrets, DM me, Martel Matthews on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? That's a little plug drop. Make y'all DM for the secret.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, I say DM because his beard looks good.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. So the next thing, though, now that you've been in Texas, you've been growing the brand, and now you've been doing things online. What do you feel like the in person? Don't you have a brick and mortar too that you moved into, or is that for the makeup?
No, so I have a suite. So I actually my suite is located in Spring. So when I put in my maps, because I'm not that familiar with Texas everywhere, but it's about 28 minutes from the Galleria Mall, downtown Houston, and it's not that far from Woodlands area too. So it's right in the middle. It's off of 45. That you can come get facials, men and women. So Martel, you can come too. You can come get facials. You can come get, I'm adding a 75-minute body polish. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed about anything in life, I give your entire body a body polish, body scrub.
What's a body polish? Is that
so a mask for your body. So you cover up your personal parts. I mask down your entire body. I steam your skin, make your skin really, really soft. And then at the end, I moisturize you. And by the time you sleep, so
knocked out. Feel
so
good.
I offer that service. Well, I'll be offering it in the next couple of weeks because I'm adding it on. I want to make sure you guys have the right products based on skin types, and then makeup services as well. I also do makeup services for men too who don't want to look like they're wearing makeup. So I remember I used to do makeup for news stations. And the men that were going there live, I would like cover up like dark spots and things, like polished makeup, basically.
Got you.
So, I offer all those services. I'm located in Spring, but getting out more to networking events. Like I said, I'm trying to leave fear in the past. So meeting more people, connecting with more people, I think that's really going to turn me up here in Houston.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, and connecting with the new Black Wall Street.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? We got events and we got all type of stuff going on. That's gonna be exciting.
Okay.
Monthly too. I think that you can really tap into. You know,
I'll be there.
for sure. So one thing that I love to see is Black women being both being able to be a boss babe and being able to be in your femininity at the same time, right? And I know you talked about, you know, you have a great healthy relationship with your family, with your boyfriend, with your lifestyle. How's it been for you as an entrepreneur balancing out being a full-time CEO and balancing out having a successful relationship in Black love? I'm assuming he's a Black man, but I'm not sure what. But yeah, all right, you know what I mean? Having that successful Black love and being a CEO.
I feel like it's pretty easy for me. Like I said, after a couple months after my dad died, I did therapy. So it helped teach me more about balance, being able to spend time with friends. And now most of my friends are back home. So I kind of cut that out a little bit until I meet more people here because that helps balance out a lot of things. But that's easy for me. I don't think I've ever had problems with balancing out family, friends, relationship. Me time. I need my me time. Sometimes I just don't need to be around anybody. But if you're struggling with that, my advice to you would be like, think about when you might want to do a date night with your partner, or if you just want to have a girls' night, or if you just want to plan in advance your girls' trips or your men trips separate from being with your partner. Like you can't be, I don't like being cluttered under one person. I feel like we hold each other too close and then we can't grow, or you get too comfortable with someone that you feel like you can't live without them. And
Yeah.
you want to have a good relationship with your partner, but you also want to be able to identify yourself as an individual and never forget who you are, so that if you lose a leg, you still will be able to stand on yourself.
Yeah.
So I do believe in healthy relationships. I'm not a person who, even though I'm young, that toxic, the arguing, that's not me. I think I'm a little bit beyond my years with that, because I really like healthy relationships, whether it's relationships with your partner, your friends, your family. If it's not serving me any purpose anymore, I'll slowly, respectfully cut you off.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
Snip, snip.
Yeah.
And y'all know the other part.
Yeah.
So, are you a calendar person? Like, do you live by your calendar? Are you
No.
structured like that? Or are you kind of, you go with the flow and just know what you're gonna do for the day?
I'm a Capricorn, so I like to plan. I like to have my life in order and not plan too far in advance, but I also feel like I wing a lot of things too.
Yeah, and they just kind of come out right because you thought it through enough.
Yep. Like, I could be a procrastinator, but I get it done. I think that's why I continue sometimes to procrastinate, because it always ends up being done and being done good.
It's still working out for you, huh?
Still work out. But I do plan sometimes, but I don't always follow through with just looking at my schedule like I have to do this, that, and the third. I kind of wing things as well.
Okay, my final question for you is, what's your favorite part of owning the skincare business?
Making people feel confident in themselves. One thing is, the first thing that you look at somebody is their skin, their smile, everything that you physically see before you get to know them. And some people don't feel confident with what they see in their reflection. So the fact that I could create something that helps people feel more confident, whether you have dark spots, uneven skin tone, dealing with acne, anything that you're dealing with your skin that makes you feel a little self-conscious, I'm glad that I was able to create something to help with that. And then now not only sell it to you, but perform the service to get you to the goal that you want your skin to look like. So I will always continue educating myself on skin, taking classes, courses to learn to be able to help people get the perfect skin that makes them feel confident.